I'm showing you how easy it is to make the best tasting healthy chicken nuggets that are quickly baked in your oven. They taste way better than overly processed restaurant chicken nuggets, and they're made with fresh ground chicken, breadcrumbs or almond flour, egg, Parmesan cheese, and Italian seasoning. We simply dip the nuggets in the flour, in egg mixture, and the breading, and then brush them on both sides with butter. Then we bake them for less than 20 minutes until they're crispy and golden. To give these chicken nuggets extra body and texture, we're gonna start with breadcrumbs. You could use panko breadcrumbs or regular breadcrumbs, and if you'd like a gluten-free option, you can use gluten-free breadcrumbs like I am, or even almond flour. So we're gonna start with 1/3 of a cup of our breadcrumbs, and then to soften the crumbs or the flour, we're going to add 3 tablespoons of milk, and I'm just using almond milk. And then we're going to quickly just mix them together, and those breadcrumbs will instantly start to hydrate and soften. And now we can add in some very simple seasonings, including 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, a dash of black pepper, and then we'll simply mix these together. And then we're gonna add in 1 pound of ground chicken. And to mix this all together, I found it really works easiest to just use your hands. So I'm just gonna squish it all together just until it's all well combined. And then I'll kind of push it down until it's in one firm piece. Now we can wash off our hands and then prepare our breading assembly line. In our first bowl, we're gonna add 1/3 of a cup of tapioca flour. And this is to make it gluten-free, but you can also use regular flour if you like. And then in our second bowl, we're going to crack 1 egg and then simply whisk it until it's well combined. And then in our third bowl, we're going to add 1/2 cup of our breadcrumbs. And because in my opinion, everything tastes better with a little bit of cheese, we're gonna go ahead and add 1/4 of a cup of some grated Parmesan cheese. But you could omit this if you like. Then we'll add 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning, 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and 1 teaspoon of salt, and a dash of pepper. And then I'll just mix this together with a fork. Now before we start forming our chicken nuggets, we want to have our pan ready. And I have found that it works best to use a wire rack on top of your baking sheet and then putting the chicken nuggets on top. What this does is allows the air to circulate around your nugget, which makes it extra crispy. But you could also bake them without the wire rack, just on a sheet of parchment paper, and you'll still get a fantastic result. Now to form our chicken nuggets, you could just use a large spoon, but I have found that my medium-sized cookie scoop works really well. So I'm just gonna go in and get a level scoop of chicken and then drop it right into the tapioca flour. I'll go ahead and do 4 at a time. And I really like this method because you can skip the step of having to roll the meat in your hands. Now to make this really easy, you'll want to assign one of your hands as the egg dipping hand and the other hand as the dry hand. So our dry hand is gonna come in and just roll these in the flour and then tap off any excess and drop them right into the egg mixture. And then our egg dipping hand will come in and roll them around into the egg mixture, kind of dab it on the side to get off any extra egg, and then drop it right into the breadcrumbs. And then with our dry hand, we can give them a shake in the bowl just until they're all well coated. And then I'm gonna take each one and kind of flatten it down into our chicken nugget shape. And while I'm doing that, I can make sure that it has breadcrumbs on both sides and that it's completely covered. And then I can just lift it out and set it onto our tray. So again, I'll just press it into a nice chicken nugget shape, and then lift it out and put it right on the tray. Now that our chicken nuggets are all formed, we want to brush on a little bit of oil or butter, which is going to make them extra crispy on the outside. So I've just melted down 1/4 a cup of butter, and then I'm just going to use a pastry brush and then very quickly and lightly brush some butter on top of all of the chicken nuggets. Since this chicken only had about 5 or 7% fat, I don't mind adding in a little bit of butter. Well, these look fantastic, and they are ready to go into a 375-degree oven for 10 minutes. And then we're going to take them out of the oven, flip them over, brush some butter on the underneath side, and then put them back in the oven for an additional 8 minutes. Then we'll know they're done when they're a nice golden brown on the outside, and we can check the internal temperature to make sure it's at least 165 degrees. Well, here are our chicken nuggets that just came out of the oven, and they look and smell incredible. Our coating is nice and crispy, and I cannot wait to try one. And my favorite way to enjoy them is dipped in my homemade ranch dressing. And I've included a link in the video description below with a link to this recipe. Just dip it in the ranch. That tastes so good. As soon as you bite in, you get that familiar chicken nugget texture that has the crunchy outside with the breadcrumbs and the egg, and then you bite into the juicy center from the ground chicken, and it has the perfect amount of seasoning and flavor. And I love the addition of the Parmesan cheese. And the best part is that I'm eating something with clean, natural ingredients, which means I'm gonna feel just as good even after I enjoy it. And I love being able to share my creatively healthy recipes so that you can enjoy them too. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today in my kitchen. And I've included a link to the full recipe, and it's in the video description below. And it takes you to my website, gentletummy.com. And I also invite you to like and subscribe to my channel. And if you know someone else who you think would love this recipe, please share this video with them. And I cannot wait to have you hang out with me again in my kitchen.